Hi, my name is VJ Smith. I live in Brookings, South Dakota. I speak and write for a living. Maybe the greatest piece of advice I ever received on writing is this: write what you know. In other words, experiences and stories, when thought about it in a deeper context, have a meaning that would be of interest to other people. I don't claim to be a great writer, and I have the grades to prove it. I was reminded about that a few years ago when I received a phone call as my family sat down to eat, and on the other end was a man from Los Angeles. He was in his mid-70s. He was in a hospital recovering from a stroke, and he just read my book, The Richest Man in Town, about my relationship with Aaron Martinson, Marty, from Walmart. And he wanted to tell me what he thought about the book. He was excited to share. And while he was talking, saying nice things, I interrupted him and I said, "Well, I'm not that great of a writer." And there was a slight pause. He said, "No, you aren't, but you know how to tell a story." I'll take that honest assessment. I've been around the sun 60 times. I've seen a lot of stuff, a lot of great stuff, a lot of not so great stuff, and as many of you have. And I've learned from these things through my experiences, as you've learned through your experiences. In my working lifetime, I was a bill collector in both Denver, Colorado and Kansas City, Missouri. I got lied to every day. I got threatened every week. I survived. For a while, I was a solar collector salesman. I wasn't very good at it and got fired. I had an 8-year stint with a company that employed 8,500 people under one roof making non-nuclear components for nuclear weapons. And that was an interesting experience. And then I had a 6-year stint as the assistant athletic director at a mid-sized university. And for 10 years, I became its alumni director. Again, lots of experiences. And for the past 15 years, I've talked to over 1 million people. I've traveled 1 million miles. And oftentimes, the people that I speak to will come up and talk to me afterwards and share their stories, or reach out to me in letters and emails. I've received thousands. People have their own stories. And I believe that when I share a story, people connect with their stories, just like you would. Now, I've learned a lot of things. Back in the 1970s, when I was a college student at South Dakota State University, we had a history club Christmas party. Doesn't that sound exciting? The history club Christmas party. And the gentleman that spoke that night was the head of the history department. He said something that I have not forgotten in 40 years. He quoted a man by the name of Jose Marti, who was one of the leaders in Cuba's pursuit of independence in the 1890s. Marti said, before a man dies, he needs to do 3 things. He needs to plant a tree, write a book, and have a son. By planting a tree, you give something back to the earth. By writing a book, you leave your thoughts and ideas to posterity. And by having a son, you pass along the family name. Well, I was intrigued by the first 2 ideas, planting a tree and writing a book. But that last one, having a son to pass along the family name, there are a lot of Smiths in this world. I had daughters. There are a lot of Smiths. So I did write this book called The Richest Man in Town, about my friend Marty from Walmart. Now, absolutely shocked by the number of people who have read his story. I wrote this one, Jackrabbit Tales, about my experiences as the assistant athletic director and alumni director at South Dakota State University. But I wanted to write a book that I could give my children and grandchildren and say, here are some things to think about in life. Important things, smaller things, but some things to really give thought to. So I wrote this book, Can You Hear What I See? Kind of an odd title, isn't it? I'll get back to that in a moment. Within this book, I have certain categories. There are 5. Attitude, growth, character, work, and connecting with people. And I share various stories and things that have happened that support those ideas. And I got to tell you, there is nothing groundbreaking in this book. You're not going to sit there and read this and say, I didn't know that. You're going to say, yeah, I know that. Besides that, I always get a kick out of walking into a bookstore and seeing the titles, and there's a book that says The Secret to a Happy Marriage, or The Secret to a Happy Life, or The Secret to Becoming a Millionaire. There are no secrets. It's all out there. And we know this stuff, and we're being reminded of this stuff. Here's what I've learned about life and why I wrote the book. We need constant reminders between good and bad. Because even the great and powerful stumble. So you won't see any new ideas in this book. There'll be things just packaged a little bit differently. Besides that, the book is a conversation starter. You read one of the short chapters, you can talk to your family, friends, colleagues about what's inside of it. Because everyone, again, has their own stories. When I solicited friends and ideas, friends and acquaintances about a good title for this book, and I shared with them what the book was about, I had a superintendent of schools from West River, South Dakota, suggest to me that I ought to just title it Life Lessons from Captain Obvious. Well, I didn't accept that one, but he's partially right. But we need a reminder. Within that book, I write this, and it's probably one of the most important things that I know, is the word care. C-A-R-E. I believe care is the biggest word in the English language. It is. It trumps the word love because it includes the word love. Every day, every person is judged by how much they care. How much they care about their family, how much they care about their friends, how much they care about their relationships, how much they care about their jobs, how much they care about their community, how much they care about their church, how much they care about their country, how much they care about everything. Every day we're judged on that because we judge other people based on the same thing. We all know in life there are a lot of people who don't care. And here's the deal. You can't teach it. Either you got it or you don't. It's inner driven. A person has to want to care. So I'm going to finish this short video by sharing a story that isn't found in the book, but illustrates what I'm getting at. Back in 1958, a man and woman in their 70s were walking around the campus of South Dakota State College, then South Dakota State College. And another employee of the university, a guy by the name of Woody Wency, then in his late 30s, happened on this man and this woman and said, "Could I help you?" And the man said he had graduated 50 years before that in 1908, and he was back for the first time, and everything was different, everything had changed. And Woody said, "Would you like me to give you a tour?" He said, "You'll give us a tour?" "Sure, I'd love to give you a tour and show you the campus. Let me check in with the journalism department, tell them I'm going to be giving you a tour, and we'll go and do that." And so Woody walked around with his man and woman and showed them all the places for an hour. And during the course of that conversation, he said, "Would you like to see the town?" "Yeah, we would love to see the town." He said, "I'll give you a tour of the town in my car. You'll do that for us." He said, "Sure." Before they jumped in his car, Woody said, "Would you like to talk to the president of the university?" "We can talk to the president of the university." "You can talk to the president of the university." So they set up an appointment for a half hour later. And so Woody took this couple around town and dropped them off in the president's office. And they bid goodbye to Woody, and they went to the president's office for an hour. And during the course of that conversation, the man and woman said that they wanted to start scholarships at their respective universities. The man had gone to South Dakota State. She had gone to a different college. They talked for an hour and had a great conversation. They shook hands, and they said, "We'll be in touch." The man and woman then drove to her alma mater, and no one would help them. no tour of the campus, no tour of the town. And no one wanted to see them. And they finally got an appointment with an assistant dean who for 10-15 minutes told them that he had important things to do. And after 15 minutes, the woman who had graduated from that college stood up and said, all of our money is going to go to South Dakota State. And they came back and they started a scholarship program. The man and woman were Mr. and Mrs. Stephen F. Briggs. Briggs he invented and started the Briggs & Stratton Corporation. He was the inventor of the Briggs engine. And that scholarship program, as of today, has benefited over 1,000 students who have received a full ride scholarship over 4 years. It's really amazing. But the question is, what would have happened if Woody Winsey had just walked by that couple while they were trying to figure out their way? What would have happened if Woody hadn't taken them on a tour of the campus and the community? What would have happened if the president of the university didn't spend an hour with them? All those young people wouldn't have benefited. Woody Winsey cared, the president of the university cared, and it made all the difference in the world. And these are the type of stories that I tried to share in my book, Can You Hear What I See? Stories that make a difference in people's lives, day in and day out. And I hope you enjoy reading it. Thank you for your time.